Do that. Good to have you on board. My buddy Wayne Allyn Root is with us right now. Excuse me. He's founder of The Winning Edge, former Libertarian VP nominee, and author of The Ultimate Obama Survival Guide, How to Survive, Thrive, and Prosper During Obamageddon. How are you, buddy?
Well, I'll tell you what, I've routed up the liberals, Dan. You know, something wild's going on, because why the hell in the last 4 weeks, 5 weeks, I've been attacked by Piers Morgan.
Yes.
Jon Stewart of The Daily Show.
Right.
Mother Jones Magazine.
Right.
I can't even name the number of liberal bloggers whose names I don't know, and I wouldn't want to publicize them anyway.
Well, don't forget Rachel.
And then Rachel Maddow, right, on Thursday night. 15 minutes of airtime on national TV to attack me personally?
I thought that was great. Come on. You got to admit, that is fun when they do that. 15 minutes.
I'm obviously doing something right. They're obviously scared. But, you know, it was all based on an interview I did a year ago on Sean Hannity Radio.
Right.
A year ago, I was on the radio, and it was the day after Harry Reid had attacked Mitt Romney for cheating on his taxes, even though Harry Reid had never seen Romney's tax returns.
That's right.
So I go on Hannity and I say, listen, I'm going to change the conversation here. The liberal media is going nuts about Harry Reid's blind guess about Romney's tax returns, and meanwhile, I'm going to make a blind guess. I'm Obama's college classmate at Columbia, and Harry Reid's opened the door for me. If he's allowed to make a blind guess about Mitt Romney's tax returns, I'm allowed to make a blind guess about how Obama got into Columbia.
You bet, brother.
Because he didn't have the grades. He was a lousy C student at Occidental. He was a pot smoker. All his friends said he never went to class. And next thing you know, he transfers into Columbia, which is one of the 5 hardest colleges in America to ever transfer into.
Yep.
How did he do that? And I said, you know what my guess is? My guess is he, as a kid, we all know this, he moved with his mother to Indonesia because she got married to an Indonesian.
Right.
And he lived there for, I think it was 5 years, and he went to school there for 5 years. And the question is, when he came back, did they ever change his citizenship back? Had they changed it there? Because the rule says you can't attend Indonesian school without becoming an Indonesian citizen.
That's right.
So if, in fact, they did for a temporary thing, it doesn't make him a bad person. When he came back, did anyone bother to ever change it? He lived with his grandparents. They probably didn't know the difference. And when he gets ready to go for college, is it possible he used that as an edge to fast-track his way into one of the best and hardest colleges to get into in America, Columbia? That's it. That was the conversation. In between then and now, Dan, 1,000 interviews, all of them about economics, and suddenly Rachel digs up the old interview and spends 15 minutes saying, I'm a birther, and the Republican Party needs to stay away from me. They'll never win another election. Wayne Root is poison for you. He's a birther, and there's an event coming up in Vegas, and none of you should go, and the senator and the congressman have to back out of the event because Wayne Root is one of the stars, and you can't even stand near Wayne Root because he's such a pariah.
You know, Americans have always been fighters, and I don't mean fighters in the obnoxious drunk kind of way. Americans have always stood their ground. Americans have always been proud of being principled people that will stand up for those principles. And America loves leaders. America loves folks like you who will say what you think. Not everybody has to agree with you, but you're not a milquetoast, you know, standing in the corner going, I don't know what I think.
But here's the thing. Yeah, I agree with you, and I thank you for saying it. But my question is, how come Harry Reid was never put down by fellow Democrats? Maybe people shouldn't stand on the same stage as Harry Reid because he made up lies about Mitt Romney. And here's the thing. Those lies were proven false because Mitt released his tax returns, and he's not a cheat. So Harry Reid's a complete liar, whereas Wayne Root's guess about Obama, you can't prove I'm the one who's wrong because his records are sealed, and you can't check them out. And no matter how many times I embarrass him on national TV, Obama won't unseal those records. Funny thing, Dan, I have a funny feeling I'm striking too close to the truth.
I think that's right. And ever since Harry Reid came out and said that, I've used the Harry Reid standard on this show over and over and over. And my standard is, well, Harry Reid set a very low bar for what can be said. My story, therefore, is just as right and just as true and correct, even if I have no basis for it, if I heard it somewhere or until a better story comes along. So I can tell any story I want, according to Harry Reid, and it's good until a better story comes along.
Well, here's the thing. Have you ever read Saul Alinsky? Have you actually read
Oh, yes.
him?
Yeah. Rule for Radicals, one of my favorite books.
You know, then, that Saul Alinsky and the liberals, under Obama anyway, liberals have picked this up and they love to practice it. I think he's made a mandatory reading for every liberal in his administration and every liberal in the media, and they're trying to Saul Alinsky me. The deal is, Saul Alinsky says the ends justify the means. You do anything you have to kill your political opposition. And their goal was to take – here you have a country, Dan, where every minute you turn on the TV, the news, you put on Drudge, there's 1,000 people a minute doing something horrible, right? Really bad stuff. Murders, rapes, robberies, cheating on their wives, you name it. You go to New York City, the guy who cheated on his wife's running for controller. You go to New York City, the guy's leading for mayor who took pictures of his penis and sent it to strangers on Twitter. And the only thing Democrats have to talk about is Wayne Root asked a question of the president one time, and we believe his entire career should be ruined and no Republican should ever speak to him again. Are you joking?
Yeah, but I'm jealous of the coverage you got with Rachel Maddow. I want that kind of coverage from Rachel Maddow.
Well, I've turned it into something big. I took it, and it's now the front page of the Blaze. It was put on the Blaze this morning, but now it's on the front page, top left. So it's the big story on the Blaze, which is Glenn Beck's site with about 9 million readers.
You bet.
And I'm hoping my publicity department at Regnery Publishing that published my book, The Ultimate Obama Survival Guide, has contacted Rachel Maddow. See, the thing about me is, number one, I'm always respectful. I didn't say anything bad about Rachel. She just badmouthed me behind my back.
Sure.
And they've contacted her and said, Wayne would love to be on to debate this with you. I don't shy away from anyone or anything.
Well, no way, no how she does it. Even though she believes she can beat you in a debate, I know that. As I'm sitting here, she believes that. She can't, but she believes it. No way, no how will she give you that publicity by bringing you on her show.
I will tell you why I make it 50-50. I'm not disagreeing.
Really?
I'm not making it 100%. I make it 50-50 because her ratings are in the toilet.
Oh, that's exactly right.
She needs something like this.
She needs you, Wayne.
Root. She needs to make me into a villain, and I need to vilify her. And it would be very good for her show. I heard the ratings were at an all-time low. Matter of fact, I think I have more Twitter followers than she has viewers. So she needs me much more than I need her.
And I believe that's the first time that anybody's ever said that about Rachel Maddow. So,
a man, anyway. But I'm always very nice and respectful. I'm Mr. Conservative on fiscal issues, but on social issues, I'm a libertarian. Live and let live. Do what you want in the bedroom. So I have never criticized Rachel Maddow. I'm not an anti-gay rights guy. The idea that she would vilify me for 15 minutes when she knows nothing about me, she probably didn't even write the script. It was probably written by some kid producer, and they put it up and she read it.
Yeah, some 17-year-old intern wrote the teleprompter. Folks, nobody speaks this way without a teleprompter. Of course, they're reading what somebody else wrote up there.
Well, my question is, if I did it to her, I'd be Joe McCarthy.
No.
Can you imagine if I hit her and I talked about her and her personal life and I gave her a name? In other words, when Harry Reid made a guess about Mitt Romney, about his taxes, shouldn't Harry Reid now be called a taxer? Shouldn't we have a word? See, I'm a birther, even though I've never discussed Obama's birth in my life. None of that had to do with the birth. I just explained to you it had to do with he lived in Indonesia. It's a fact.
Sure.
I didn't need to go near his birth. I've never gotten near that topic in my life.
Well, he has vetted himself in his 2 books. Obama has, but there are things that he's not vetted about himself that are out there right now. And I am very, very surprised that nobody is bringing those issues to the surface. Not that they matter, at all.
I am, and that's why they're so mad at me. I mean, it's not just Rachel.
But you're not.
You could say that was bad luck, but
you're not bringing out everything that's out there.
Well, maybe not everything, but I'll tell you what. Here are the things I've brought out that I think have them really worried.
Yep.
Number one, last October 12th, I put a commentary out that made it all over the internet and did tons of rounds of Fox News and talk shows, etc., where I said the biggest issue for Mitt Romney is that there is an IRS scandal here.
Sure.
Obama is using the IRS to destroy his political opponents, I being one of them, and to intimidate and silence us and to go after GOP donors. And you guys need to use this issue. It is the biggest scandal in modern American political history, and it makes him a Nixon. And, of course, they didn't use it, and a year later it comes out now that there is a gigantic IRS scandal. It gets worse by the day, more allegations today. And I'm telling you, Dan, as sure as I'm standing here, I'm the key to the whole IRS scandal because they went after me once in such a vicious fashion, and then I beat them in tax court, and 5 days later, new IRS audit.
See,
and my lawyer said that's never happened in the history of America.
See, Wayne, here's the thing that gets me, though, is that you're a gentleman, I'm a gentleman. We don't talk about we talk about policies. We don't talk about people yet. Let's keep in mind Chicago way of politics and the way Obama was raised and Saul Alinsky, and you go through that whole package. As you said, the idea, the objective is to absolutely obliterate your opponent, just smother them and kill them, and not literally.
Well, I defame them, discredit
That's
them.
exactly right. Yet nobody has done that against Obama, and there are so many things you could do, but yet we have so much respect that for at least the office that we choose not to do that. But of all the people who are vulnerable, Obama is so vulnerable to personal attacks, but nobody will do it.
Let me tell you why I think I got him on this IRS scandal, okay?
Yep.
I won my second IRS audit about a month and a half ago.
Oh,
okay?
congratulations.
So I've beaten them twice.
Yep.
They've gone through 4 years of my life, every line, and found I don't owe one penny. But I got to tell you, about 2 weeks before they closed the second case,
Yep.
my lawyer got a call from the IRS agent doing my audit. And the agent told him that a call was made from the highest levels of government to close the case. And 2 weeks later, the IRS scandal broke. So you tell me, as a smart guy, Dan, and I've been on the show with you so many times, I know how smart you are. What do you think that means?
I think that they would prefer not to have a high-profile attack on a conservative over IRS records, and I think that you did exactly the right thing. And I'll tell you, let me add one thing if I can for my friend, because I do have a lot of friends at the IRS. Those folks at the IRS do not want to be doing what they're doing, almost to the person that I know. They do not want to be conducting the audits they're conducting. They don't want to be the tools of somebody else's policy. At the very top of the IRS is a lot different than the middle and the bottom. Those folks don't want to be doing what they're doing right now.
All right, so going along with what you're saying, what I wrote a year ago, what I've written again and again, is that I don't blame the IRS. I think the IRS agents who did this were ordered by people above them, and they were ordered by the Obama administration.
Absolutely.
And they all feared for their jobs and their pensions. I don't blame the IRS. But I've always said this comes directly from the Obama White House. And I'm telling you, the reason somebody at the top of government made a call and said close this case is because this originated from the Obama White House against Wayne Root. And
Absolutely.
They wanted it out of the way. They wanted it sealed. They wanted it closed. They wanted me to shut up. They didn't want me to complain about it anymore. They just wanted it to go away. And I'm telling you, why else? The same reason Rachel Maddow, called me a birther, is the same reason that Obama and the people in the administration like Valerie Jarrett, David Axelrod, originally Rahm Emanuel, they went after me personally to shut me up so I'd stop talking about Columbia University.
I think that's right. And remember, all of Obama's records are still sealed.
That's what I'm saying. There's
Everything
a
is
reason
sealed.
why they're sealed, folks.
Everything is sealed. And
I always said there's three scandals at Columbia. Scandal number one is, how did he get in? And to this day, I swear to you, my gut instinct says it was using that Indonesian citizenship. Nothing to do with birth, not a birther. He lived in Indonesia. It's a fact. He went to Indonesian schools. It's a fact. He lived there with his mother and new stepfather. Fact. And he may have used that to gain entrance, and that's called fraud. So that's number one. Number two, I knew everyone there, and I never saw him, never met him, never heard of him, don't know anyone who has. And since the last time I saw you, this hasn't come out.
Right.
Since the last time I was on your show, Dan, I interviewed the most respected and honored professor in the history of Columbia, Henry Graff, a presidential historian and a professor of, I think it was 46 or 48 years at Columbia. He never heard of him, never saw him, never had him in a class.
What do you draw from that, Wayne? What's your conclusion when a person like that has never seen him?
He went there, okay? He went there. We know he got accepted there, and we know he graduated because his name was on the graduation. So it's not like he didn't go there, and I've never charged that. I've said he wasn't there for the 2 years after he transferred in. He never went to class. My guess is he spent all his time hanging out in off-campus apartments, smoking pot and hanging out with his terrorist buddies like Bill Ayre, plotting the overthrow of America, plotting out how you destroy capitalism, thinking he was too good to go to class, going to Communist Party meetings, right? And then he just showed up each time for finals. I never noticed him. He slipped into the back of the room, took his final and left, took a gentleman's C and got out of there. And I'm sure that's the real answer to all this.
And you wonder why Rachel is picking on you.
You know what? Once again, though, I've never said a word about Obama's background, sex. I just talk about what I think are wrong with Obama's stories. I'm not attacking him personally. I'm not calling him a name like birther. I don't go after Rachel for her sexual identity. I don't care about things like that.
I agree.
None of my business.
So, okay, I've got a minute, Wayne. Let me ask you this question. I share your philosophy as far as not going after people individually. I mean, unless there's absolutely no option. So how in the world do folks like us who won't use the same tactics as the far left?
Saul Alinsky. Exactly right.
How do you beat him? Saul Alinsky will always go one step further than I will, and probably one step further than you will. How do you beat people like that?
Well, you think that's all they're doing? It's much more than that. I mean, I would bet my bottom dollar that they played with the election results. I don't believe what you saw as the final election results were achieved honestly and legally. I believe today there was an article out that says Democrats won the election by bringing homeless people to the polls. I know in Ohio they brought Somalians by the thousands to the polls who had written instructions in their language saying vote straight Democrat up and down the ticket. This was a concerted effort to take over the United States of America. And Obamacare, Dan, is going to destroy us and bankrupt us and leave us with nothing but part-time jobs and temporary jobs, which is what's happening every day with every jobs report that's released. These guys are destroying the country. Is there hope? You asked me, is there hope? Well, I don't know. I saw Nate Silver of the New York Times. He's a great pollster,
yep.
and he's beat me a few times in this game. And he even says he believes Republicans now have a great chance of taking over the United States Senate in 2014.
You know, I saw that. I have a hard time with that right now. Because the Republicans will not fight the same way the Democrats will.
They don't fight the same way I do, and that's why the Democrats are so scared of me. But
yeah.
On a state-by-state basis, matching up who's running with who they've got, we do have a giant edge in this election cycle. And if you take the Senate and the House, he's done. Checkmated. His presidency is over.
Let Ted Cruz do all the coaching of the Republican candidates for the 2014.
Ted Cruz and Rand Paul are my two favorites.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I like Rand Paul. I love Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is my guy.
I'm with you.
Yeah, he's as good as they come. Wayne, I want to have you back on yet again where we can spend maybe a couple segments together. I'm disappointed we couldn't get to the economy, the number of jobs, the number of part-time jobs that are being created. Let me make one prediction while we're on the air together. My prediction is that unemployment is going to get better in this country in the next 6 to 8 months. More jobs are going to be created, but here's the caveat. It isn't going to mean a damn thing because all those jobs will be part-time jobs.
Right.
You'll be trading a full-time job for 2 part-time jobs. Unemployment is going to look better, but wages are going to be lower. Economy is going to be worse. The end of this year, people are going to be saying, what in the hell did I agree to? I am so screwed. That's a simple prediction. And that doesn't take a crystal ball to get that one out.
I'm with you. Hey, listen, my crystal ball predicted that in my book that was written months ago, The Ultimate Obama Survival Guide. And now it turns out the latest number, last thing I'll say, I know you're running tight on time here, 130,000 jobs were all that's been created since January 1st, full-time jobs.
You betcha,
in
brother.
the United States of America. Hey, folks, there's over 310 million people. 130,000 jobs is what Obama's handed you. Good luck. Good night. God bless.
A fart in a whirlwind, my friend.
The Ultimate Obama Survival Guide, it does have the answers, 18-point plan to checkmate and nullify Barack Obama for every individual, and it's available at Amazon.com.
Website is rootforamerica.com, winningedge.com. You can find the book anywhere. I'm going to do it one more time just for the fun of it. The Ultimate Obama Survival Guide, How to Survive, Thrive, and Prosper During Obamageddon. Wayne Allyn Root. God bless you, my friend. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Dan. Bye-bye.
Take care. All right, let's go to Danny Stewart with a Dylan Gage Daily Update.